I can come back to the breath, and if it goes away, I can come back once again. Sometimes we use the metaphor of training a puppy to use the paper for eliminating. And, it doesn't do any good to get angry at the puppy. It doesn't understand. All we do is bring it back again and again until the mind begins to recognize this possibility of staying in this place, the breath. Sometimes people use a little crutch to help them with this. They may just internally say something like breathing in, breathing out, as a transitional practice to help to stabilize. And once we do establish some stability and awareness of the breath, and we might not do this the first time or the second or even the 10th time, but eventually what we do is suggest opening up the field of awareness to include not only the breath remains a central anchor for us, a scaffolding for our experience. It's always there. It always can remind us of this present moment. When it's there, when we're aware of it, we know we're anchored here. But we often will open our awareness to just take in whatever's available to our senses, our smell, our taste, our sight. Even if our eyes are open or closed, we're not looking, but there's still seeing happening. We're not listening, but there's still hearing. So we might notice the play of sounds around us, within us. And we decline the invitation to become wrapped up in that or engaged in that, but we notice it. We can hear, see, smell, taste the flow of our experience because we're intending to direct our awareness to it. It's available to us. And there's the activity of the mind as well, and it's helpful, I think, to think of the mind almost like another sense. It's a sense of its own activity that's available to us, and that is also like a sense. And so we can be aware of thoughts that arise, and as they arise, we can notice it, and if we don't grab a hold of it and start to work with it, it will pass, like that cloud in the clear blue sky. The thoughts will drift away, and we can help that by anchoring again in the breath. And whenever we get lost in thoughts and discover that somehow, the invitation is just to come back again to the reality of this body and this space and time, feeling what it's feeling, sensing what it's sensing. And in mindfulness practice, we often use the sound of a bell. I'm going to ring the bell. And whenever we hear that, it calls us to the present in case we've gone somewhere else, in case we've gotten lost in imagination or worries or projecting ourselves into the past or future. The bell is a gentle reminder to come back to this moment of life, the life that we live one moment at a time, and we only have this moment, always. We never have any time besides this time. The mindfulness bell calls us back to our life and its richness, time and time again. And soon this part of our mind, this capacity for being aware, gains some stability and strength and allows us to have another way of experiencing that is qualitatively different than that busyness, that ego-based judging, analyzing part of our mind, which is so strong in our in our experience, a way to take leave from the doing, the judging, and come into reality and direct experience so that we can be truly available to life as it presents itself, to the people that we care about around us. And I want to very briefly direct us to another type of practice that's involved in mindfulness, that is cultivating beneficial emotions. We all have a capacity for joyful emotions, for emotions of tenderness, compassion. One of the things we want to do in mindfulness practice is to recognize that capacity and actually invite it into our lives more frequently, so that the parts of ourselves that counterbalance the difficulties don't get left behind. We know what it feels like to be joyful, and in the practice known as mind training, one of the slogans of mind training is always cultivate a joyful mind. And yes, I know how difficult that can be at times, but we all know what joy feels like, and we can bring it to life. One of the practices that we do in the mindfulness-based stress reduction program we call loving kindness meditation. I want to briefly give a taste of that to you, and I would invite you to just allow yourself to be comfortable in your chair or wherever you are. Comfort. Just allow that. Just allowing yourself to be. And then to consider yourself in a kindly way. Now, for some people this is very difficult, but most of us can recognize that at heart, really what we want is to be happy in our lives, to be of use, to have connection to others. We want very simple things at heart, and most people around the world share these simple desires. And this is good and wholesome and normal. And usually, at one time or another, we've succeeded at acting in ways in our life that are moving us in beneficial ways, where we're connecting to qualities of living that are important and meaningful and good. When we've been kind to another person, when we've made the right choice, where we know it's a non-destructive way of being in the world, something good that we've done at some time. Most of us have done that. And so asking you now to just consider yourself in that light and extend to yourself just a sense of kindness and understanding. And at this time we often suggest inwardly saying to oneself, may I be at peace. Just little sayings to remind us of the possibilities of life that are good and kind and beneficial. May I be well as I can be, given whatever circumstances exist in my life. May I be safe, happy, and whole. Just extending that simple kindness to oneself. Now, we would then proceed to choose another person in your life, someone who perhaps has been kind to you or a benefactor of some kind, and holding them in awareness. Extend to them also that same sense of compassion, gratitude. May you also be at peace, have a sense of ease in your life, find sources of joy. Very often people are able to sense that feeling of genuine caring, concern, compassion for another being. And so in loving kindness practice, we would spend some time extending this sense of genuine wish for the well-being of others, one at a time, and sometimes working with people that are more difficult as well. Recognizing that beneath all of that many people struggle and have difficulty finding their best selves, that often they act out of frustration, weakness, fear, because we know that because we have sometimes done that ourselves. So trying to really understand the basis of compassion in ourselves and our lives, the basis of positive, beneficial states of mind, and strengthening those parts of us. So I'm going to ring the bell and kind of end this guided meditation for now.